WT slaying.
Salama family, Salama, how y'all doing today? Brother Karis, tell the family hi.
Salama family, shalom, siemi, shalom. It's great to be back on this episode.
So we're gonna talk today about the Wakanda project, the city of return. Oh, we got some people coming in. All right. How y'all doing? AT3 and me.
Hey, how
Steven.
you doing?
What's up?
Tell the family hi.
Will do.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah, what's going on?
So we're going to talk about the Wakanda City of Return. They had a a conference today, online conference, and I think it went pretty good. They got a lot of plans for us. And I personally think, we need to do something pretty quick, but we'll see the Most High in control of that. And shout out to my boy Dante. He had a good show today with TCA. That was good. I enjoyed that. All right. So today, earlier this morning on, for U.S. time, we had online meeting. It was the Wakanda One City of Return. If any of you all were in that meeting, can you put a one in the chat? And panel, if were any of you in the meeting today?
No, I was supposed to. I registered for it, but it slipped my mind. I was like, man, I missed it.
Yeah, I work at nights in the hospital, so I got off at 7, and I couldn't make it. So
I totally missed that meeting. I'm not gonna lie.
It happens. I mean, we can't make everything, So we had it was being I guess led by Rabbi Kohen here and Erikana Chiambori Kwao. And the thing I like is, it had a bunch of people in there, a ton, right? So there's a lot of people who are looking at this now. What I want to say before we get started is that what this is prophecy coming to pass. This is prophecy coming to pass. I know some people don't believe it, but you got to have eyes to see, ears to hear, right? That's what the scripture tells us. And this is what's happening. Dry bones. I'm going to read it for those who are new. Ezekiel 37. The hand of the Lord was on me, and he brought me out of the spirit. He brought me out by the spirit of the Lord. And he set me in the middle of a valley. It was full of bones. He led me back and forth among them. And I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley, bones that were very dry. He asked me, Son of man, can these bones live? I said, Sovereign Lord, you alone know. Then he said to me, prophesy to these bones and say to them, dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the Sovereign Lord says to these bones. I will make breath enter you, and you will come to life. I will attach tendons to you and make flesh come upon you and cover you with skin. I will put breath in you, and you will come to life then. and it's the NIV version, then you will know that I am the Lord. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I was prophesying, there was a noise, a rattling sound, and the bones came together, bone to bone. I looked, and tendons and flesh appeared on them, and skin covered them, but there was no breath in them. Then he said to me, prophesy to the breath. Prophesy, son of man, and say to it, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Come, breath from the four winds. This is from around the world. And breathe into these slain that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath entered them. They came to life and stood upon their feet, a vast army. Then he said to me, son of man, these bones are the people of Israel, or the whole house of Israel. They say, our bones are dried up and our hope is gone. We are cut off. Therefore prophesy and say to them, this is what this is what the sovereign Lord says, my people. I'm going to open your graves and bring you up from them. I will bring you back to the land of Israel. This is that second Exodus, family. I will bring you back from the land of Israel. Then you, my people, will know that I am Yah. When I open your graves and bring you up from them, I will put my spirit in you and you will live, and I will settle you in your own land. Then you will know that I, the Lord, have spoken, and I have done it, declares the Lord. The word of the Lord came to me, son of man, take a stick of wood and write on it, belonging to Judah and the Israelites associated with him. Then take another stick of wood and write on it, belonging to Joseph and all the Israelites associated with him. Join them together into one stick so that they will become one in your hand. When your people ask you, won't you tell us what you mean by this? Say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I'm going to take the stick of Joseph, which is in Ephraim's hand, and of the Israelite tribes associated with him, and join it to Judah's stick. I will make them into a single stick of wood, and they will become one in my hand. Hold before their eyes the sticks you have written on, and say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I will take the Israelites out of the nation. What is he going to do? I will take the Israelites where? Out of the nations where they have gone, where we know, where did they go, family? Into the nations as captives, as we've seen before. I will gather them from all around and bring them back into their own land. I will make them one nation in the land on the mountains of Israel. Wait. I will make them one nation in the land on the mountains of Israel. Where's Israel? Is that the Middle East? Where's all the mountains? I'm just asking. There will be one king over all of them, and they will never again be two nations or be divided into two kingdoms. They will no longer defile themselves with their idols and vile images or with any of their offenses, for I will save them from all their sinful backsliding, and I will cleanse them. They will be my people, and I will be their God. My servant David will be king over them, and they will all have one shepherd. They will follow my laws and be careful to keep my decrees. They will live in the land I gave to my servant Jacob, the land where your ancestors lived. They and their children and their children's children will live there forever. And David, my servant, will be their prince forever. I will make a covenant of peace with them. It will be an everlasting covenant. I will establish them and increase their numbers, and I will put my sanctuary among them forever. My dwelling place will be with them. I will be their God, and they will be my people. Then the nations will know that I, the Lord, make Israel holy when my sanctuary is in them forever. Family, question. Is this prophecy happening before us? Is this what we're seeing happening? I make the case that this is what's happening. I believe what we're seeing here is bone to bone, and then going to be sinews, and then it's going to be flesh. We're at that stage. What's your thought? Let me ask Karis first.
Okay, so my thoughts on this is whenever we see Ezekiel 37, Ezekiel 37 parallels a lot of scripture that's on out there, because the Most High wants to give us impact over impact over impact. And so yesterday on my Covenant Awakenings channel, I was looking at Isaiah 54, and that basically says the same thing. We as a community have to understand, when the Most High said he's going to return back for his people, and that he was going to take us all back, because that was his covenant, that was his promise. It's hard for those to realize that the promise is actually still in full effect. So as we are seeing these promises come to fruition over in Africa, we're seeing the deterioration of the nation happen here. So I'm not surprised. It's just that we have to continue to be patient and see the Most High in his fullness.
All right. So, Stephen, any comments?
Yeah, so I've been kind of ever since actually you had mentioned it from a while ago. And again, thank you for everything that you've been putting into this truth movement, man. I've actually been studying quite a bit, because coincidentally, well, there's no coincidences in the Father. I've actually been doing telemedicine for about 4 or 5 years now, before it was ever even a thing. And here we are now in COVID. Now it's kind of come into major prominence per se. That you see the hand of the Father in this clearly. And for me, given that we're still under the hand of our oppressor, I see the hand of the Father, but I do want to be more prudent in making sure that there isn't anything else kind of any other hinges in this, per se, that you have to be kind of be more cautious about. It's something that I've prayed about. I've actually talked, had some degree of dialogue with the African Union about this, and seeing all of the particulars about it. And I think it's a great idea in and of itself. I do know that for me, and this is just me personally, that when I see the word Wakanda, I know that it's a fictional city. I do know that there's a lot of witchcraft associated with that fictional city in Wakanda. But that being said, I think that in and of itself, that this is a great idea, and it's going to require, as Brother Kara said, for us to be patient, to be diligent, and also to perpetually seek the face of the Father, that to make sure that this is of Him. So.
Thanks for the gift, Brother Eric. T3ME, any comments?
Yeah, so man, I see the fulfillment of this prophecy every day in so many different ways. In case the audience doesn't know, I'm in Tanzania. My family and I, we moved to Tanzania, and the Most High has it set up so perfectly over here, to the point where you can't even purchase or start your business over here unless you're linked up with a Tanzanian. So, and then Tanzania is one of the only places that are providing sanctuary right now, where you don't really have to worry about COVID vaccine, and just the president, he's just standing up to the West. So being that this is one of the President Magufuli, he's cool. So the Most High has it set up to where we have to work with each other. There's no way around it. So that prophecy is playing out before our very eyes. And not only that, just the culture here. Like a lot of the Africans, they think that African Americans are cool. So they want to work with us. They want to get to know us. They want to pick our brains. They want to find out what we think. And so by us being over here, we're just helping to raise awareness of, the awakening and who we are as a people, because a lot of them don't know. They're under Catholic indoctrination, and, they just don't know, a lot of them. So by us being over here, we're letting them know who we are as a people, and we're just coming together more and more every day.
Has the diaspora reached out to the the government out there, because things seem to be getting pretty heated over here, and they're talking about forced vaccinations and all this crazy stuff. Do they know what desperate situation we're in?
I think some of them do. I'm in a WhatsApp group, and they were actually talking about that the other day. They were talking about getting enough of us together to petition the government to have some sort of residency, whether, even if it's not permanent citizenship right away, but some sort of permanent residency there, or somewhere where we can stay there, and not have to go through the channels of getting your residency, which can take up to 10 years. I mean, getting your citizenship, which can take up to 10 years. So we're talking about it. Things are in the works. I'm just praying that the Most High just continues to guide us and have us to do what He wants us to do and to move the way He wants us to do.
Thanks. Awakened Hebrew sister, any comments on the dry bones? Awakened Hebrew sister, are you there? All right. So one of the things they keep telling us, some people from, within the Israelite community, and definitely, people within the quote unquote Christian community, they say there's no such thing as a 400-year prophecy, but I keep seeing signs of the 400-year prophecy. I keep seeing things happening that, the Bible talked about, Tell Ministries talked about, Dante Forson talked about. But they say we crazy. They say, we the only ones thinking about this. But what about this?
Which is what it takes to move this project forward from each and every one of us. We're reminded of the words again, for us, by us. Yes, we can. 400 years was part of the commemoration that inspired His Excellency the President to proclaim the year of return. And we must keep it in our mind that the 400 years was not just a commemoration, but it was an announcement that the captivity was up, that no longer were we held bound to the shackles of white supremacy, and that Africans could do for themselves, must do for themselves, and will do for themselves. And that doing for ourselves must entail committed action that is instituted, initiated by ourselves, and supported by ourselves, and that we continue in the effort to thinking as a new or a renewed people. So now is the time.
So, family, we have someone out there on the continent who says this the 400-year prophecy, and not only is it it's a gathering, but it's the removal of white supremacy, right? What's your thoughts on that? 400 years legit? I keep saying it. Every time I look around, I see prophecy being fulfilled, but I just want to know your point. Don't let the first one start.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it's the scariest prophecy this world system has ever seen, and I think that's just keeping it 100. I've talked to people and addressed it, and the implications of it. I mean, of course, it's written everywhere. From the Congress acknowledging it, to God opening up His doors, to the judgments that are being poured out, right? Just as Genesis chapter 15 said it would. It's the implications of it are manifold, and nobody wants to deal with it. And willful ignorance doesn't change the word of God. It's gonna, heaven and earth will pass away, but His word will stay the same. And we live through it. And even greater than that, to even consider that we were born for such a time as this, man. It requires such a higher level of seeking Him and making sure that you continue to one, not be caught up in this last gasp of the system and trying to enslave us. So
Awaken Hebrew sister, any comment? All right, so no comment. I'm gonna put you on the backstage. T3Me, any comment?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a coincidence that right at the end of the year you have the COVID-19 plague. It started in China in December, December 2019, or maybe a little bit before that, right at the end of the 400-year prophecy, you have a worldwide plague that engulfs the entire globe. And then you have the exodus of the children of Israel. You have the locust plagues. You have all these things going on, but we're to believe that it's a coincidence. No, I don't believe that.
Carrots. Yeah.
Shout out to Johnny Bell in the chat when he had said, you know, is it a coincidence that they had cut off our travel this year because of the 400 years, that 400-year covering? And I would say that 400 years is the spiritual deficit that we had with the Most High. Because of that spiritual deficit, we weren't, as a people, allowed to be empowered the way that we had been. I mean, think about this. We have had a building up where we're talking to Limba. You know, we're talking to our African brothers and sisters that know who they are and know who we are. You know, we've come a long way past the fact that we had belittled them with saying, you know, they're African booty scratchers and you know, they live in the mud huts. And you know, we can laugh, but that was very demeaning. You know, they would call us, you know, the equivalent of Christmas tree ornaments. For us, always being hung in trees, even to this day. So we're not going back and forth at each other the way that we used to, because even just up until recently, where I've had my encounters with them, it's very different. And it's a good thing, because you can see that the tension in the atmosphere, that was a controlled tension. I don't think people really understand the extent of white supremacy that the man had spoken about, and how that deals with the global economic affairs and business affairs. If that is now eroding, because here's the problem. Look, cut my nose and spite my face. If I'm not going to have black folks moving, then white folks aren't moving either. And then you see all these articles of, well, it's healthy for people to travel. And guess what? These folks aren't traveling. And so right now you're seeing the tensions rise for them. And for us, we're beginning to kind of understand as a people, whether you're awakened or not, how this thing is moving. So in terms of what the gentleman had to say, I think it's absolutely spot on. In terms of where Wakanda, quote unquote, is going to be, we don't know. That's why the scriptures say, which way is it to Zion?
Yep. So let's look at some of the things that was discussed during the meeting for the Wakanda One city. All right. So what I'm sharing here is Wakanda One city 3D rendering. So this the outline, the shape of the city, right? 3D rendering of Wakanda city. Now, I know in the past they were looking at Wakanda being near Zimbabwe. I guess that's changed, and now look like the president of Ghana has taken it over. And from what they said during the conference is that they're really going to pursue this, and there's nothing that's going to stop them. So I'm going to show you all some more pictures of Wakanda. Okay, this is supposed to be the headquarters for Wakanda City. Now, if we could pull this off, it'd be great. My question is where the funding coming from. I guess it's going to be the diaspora, but you know, how do you get the diaspora? I mean, unless they let us start coming over there, I don't know how much they're going to start getting. Let me show you another one.
They gonna pay for it.
And they got enough gold. They could do this themselves, be honest with you. They just got to get the Europeans out of their pocket. So this is the living and farming area for Wakanda City. So before I continue, what's your thoughts on this panel? What do you think about the 3D renderings of Wakanda City?
I think it looks really nice, and I hope that other countries in Africa start to adopt this and to start to adopt the things that Ghana has done for the year of return, the things that they're continuing to do, such as Wakanda City. So yeah, that's my hope that it'll be replicated throughout the continent.
So shouldn't they make a way for us to come now? As I've heard from many people, a lot of us don't have money. A lot of us don't have passports. And, right now with the whole COVID thing to lock us down, it slows down the process of us being able to leave anyway. Do you all think they should, I guess, put it in a accelerated process of us at least being able to come over there? What's your thoughts? Welcome, Janice. Any comments?
One of the things I want to get on and just say that there's a lot of similar activities going on. I want to say similar activities, not so much that it's a Wakanda City, but there are African governments who have been looking to connect with us, and there's some very strong partnerships being formed to help assimilate us into their goals to completely evolve their societies. And I say that with firsthand knowledge.
So are you talking about things within the AU?
No, actually not even with AU, like going directly connecting with state and federal officials through our brothers and sisters that are of the African persuasion that have been living here in the US for years. Connecting with them, forming groups using the technology that is available to us, and actually setting real strategies with the connections they have with current leaders and doing it, like seriously doing it.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so let me share another some more pictures with you all. I took a few screenshots. So this is another concept design of Wakanda. Heritage Walk, Hospitality Area, Royal Door of Return Hotel. All right. Number 2. Now, there was a few I missed because they went through so fast, but I got as many, screenshots as I could. So as you can see, the Tower of Hope. General parking area, Tower of Hope. Pan-African Wall of Fame. Now it's interesting that they have these concepts and for Wakanda City, but I'd like to see more progress in the legal side of things. In terms of us getting over there and settling down. Now they do have, their Rabbi Haliva or Rabbi Kohen Halevi. You know, they have some land that they're giving over there as well in Ghana for those who are returning. You know, I don't know if you all follow that, but there's a channel by a guy named Ekal Simpson, and he covers a lot of that. All right, let me share some more. Residential chalets, multiple occupancy. Now, I mean, I like all of this. I'm just wondering how it's going to be financed. That's my thing. So we need to talk more about that, right? How is it going to be financed? Now, I know the diaspora has the money, but how do you get the money from the diaspora? Let me ask you all that. What's your thoughts? How should they go about funding this? Because you know, a lot of our people living day to day here in the U.S., especially with COVID and everything. Now, you got people like Tyler Perry and, you know, some of the rich people, you know, who could probably finance most of this themselves. What's your thoughts on the financing this whole thing?
I'll go and speak first. My thoughts on the financing is I think it can come in multiple forms. Some of the things that I see taking place is using a lot of the assets that are currently on the ground in some of these countries. There's guarantees that states and federal agencies overseas on the continent can use to spur private investment local at the banks there, and that follows a Western model business. And so once investment comes from a domestic standpoint in a transparent manner that we are accustomed with, I think if there's a group that could introduce the diaspora to that enabling environment, everyone can feel comfortable with ensuring that their money is going to be handled properly in a transparent way. And I think it'll make it easier for people to put whatever denominations of money there. One of the things that's going to be very new is that a lot of what I see taking place is not following a Western model standpoint. Like from a capitalist standpoint, it's not one person that's going to get all of the money, but people are looking at ways to share the profits of very fundamental businesses with the community. And so I think we are going to see a completely different model from distribution of wealth and profit with a lot of things that are taking place over there now.
Thanks for the gift, Larry. Go ahead.
I'd like to add, because I think a lot of us kind of lose sight in terms of what we have to think about. The models are nice, and we have to understand to get from a model to an actual product, that's going to be a little bit more than just the money and the financing. You know, I think a lot of us kind of lose insight that Africa has all the resources. That's just bar none. So what a lot of people, and I think this is what we do, we box ourselves into the narrative of white supremacy. Think about that. We don't need to have them, you know, do for us per se. We just need to have the equipment, and that equipment is there all throughout Africa. Now, my concern is how we would enable ourselves to where it's not a debt remittance system based on the Chinese instead of the European. And here's the thing, the equipment is there, the people are there, the workforce is there, the material is there. It's just now repurposing all of that to now make something that's not a Western or, you know, Far Eastern based commodity. It's just something that's actually centrically focused. So with all that being said, I don't think a lot of people understand. Listen, the whole model of money, even as you are looking at it, that's changing. So just think about how that monetary aspect, that monetary policy is going to look when it's like, okay, well, we need some sheetrock. All right, well, somebody dig some gold out the ground. Okay, here it is. All right, now order the sheetrock. Or the material can be made by Jamal or somebody on over there. Okay, Jamal, what do you need? What will you need, and what will your materials be? So this is something that we tend to kind of have that logical failing when we look at the picture, and it's not a fault of the people on the panel, because we all fall into that logic. But now we have to start understanding, listen, it's us that's gonna be potentially leading the way in this. This is the concept, but you're gonna have to have industrial parks. You're gonna have to have now sustained industries to support those things, to support the equipment, to support the help that will be needed to make that society run. So, and the great thing is, see, we're all going to get this thing together, because the Most High is not an author of confusion. But in terms of how we view things, that definitely needs to change.
Yeah,
thanks for the gift, Curtis. Thanks for the gift, James. Does anybody want to answer this question here?
I was, as I was listening to Karis and the other brother before, I think, to his point, there is going to be such a large paradigm shift, and I believe that if the Father's in this, that it's going to come in tandem with the wealth transfer that's coming, right? That the skill set and the knowledge base, as well as the resources, if you combine all of us from the diaspora, whether it's America, Europe, South America, wherever, in tandem with the natural resources of the land, in tandem with the reparations that we're all due, it's the funding is a non-factor, more so as it is an issue of cooperation, just as the Israelites, when we came out of Egypt and we went into the promised land, we built it with the resources and talents that we already had, because we built Egypt before that. And I think that the funding is gonna be, for me, in my opinion, a hand of the Most High. And I think in terms of transferring our resources from America to Africa, I think that there's going to be so much of an abundance of what we'll have there, that it will pale in comparison to what we have right now in captivity. And that's just my opinion.
Welcome, Michaela. Any comments?
Yes, I think that looking at the infrastructure from the ground up is imperative. And again, not utilizing anything that's Babylonian. The creativity that we have as far as bartering talent and teaching skill sets is part of what makes our nation so much greater than the other nations. I mean, they burned down cities of ours because from nothing we pulled together, and we had to come out of the infrastructure of Babylon because they weren't giving us anything. So to build cities within the land of our captivity should give us much confidence to know that we can infrastructurally develop and build whatever we need when we're in the place where we're supposed to be. And so I think that looking at the basics of infrastructure, meaning how do we connect just communications, roads, manufacturing, I think that the manufacturing portion will be just completely dependent on will be dependent on the manufacturing infrastructure. And so I really like looking at the images because that's something that people can take hold to. But at the same time, like you said, it's the operational structure. It's the making sure we understand how we do business, how we do what we do. We don't sell what the Most High gives us as far as our faith. We sell products and services. That's completely outside of the Babylonian mindset. The Babylonian mindset, you sell whatever you can sell. Products are the things that we create, develop, maintain. There is no, the intellectual property, of course, but there's no packaging up the wisdom of the Most High and out. It's as an export. Like, that's not a thing. So it's everybody getting into the camp that they are gifted to be in, whatever your thing is that you are designed to do, that's what you need to be focused on cultivating, and also being able to teach other people who are also gifted in that area but lack the experience.
So, Janice, on that information you were sharing with us, can you email us? Because I assume you can't talk too much about it, but can you email us some details on that?
I definitely will. I definitely will. Part of what me and some other people are working on is we've been working on it for a while to dispel the perception that has been created that we can't trust our brothers in Africa, and to get them to understand how to set up a Western paradigm level of transparency in business, not capitalism, but being transparent and what that really means, and to show us here that they have all the resources to indigenously initiate some pretty major projects. If they do those things, I've guaranteed them that I can bring some people over and show them what the enabling environment for business, and get them to be comfortable with the way the banking system works, the way the city works, the way the policies work, the way you get electricity and water, all the things that are common here. And with that clear model, there's going to be an open path for all levels of investment. And the thing that's going to be different is not investment like, oh, I'm going to go buy stock and I own this piece of paper that says that I have a right to this company. I'm talking about on the ground, hard ownership of brick mortar at various levels. So yes, definitely. I would like to send you an email and start having some conversations. We're literally into some pretty deep contracts with some state officials to provide them with consultation services, along with multiple full-fledged business plans in various industries to start to really do a lot of things that we've been talking about. So yes, I definitely will send you something.
So let me ask you all a question. What can we do as, the diaspora here in the United States, especially, let's say part of those who listen to Tail Ministries and many of the ministries here on YouTube, what do you all think we can do to participate and help move this along? Because I know a lot of us want to leave, right? Some of us can't leave, but yet we see this albatross of a system trying to close in on us, right? Trying to make it where they're going to end up forcing vaccinations through the corporations, right? So instead of them just saying, okay, you have to take this, right? It's all going to be slowly incremented. And so like right now, Ticketmaster, you won't be able to go to the concerts unless you've been tested and proved initially, right, free from COVID, or you take the vaccine or the mark or whatever you want to call it, right? So, but we know that's going to increase. It's going to be, now you can't go to Walmart, and now you can't go to Target, and now you can't go to Best Buy, and now you can't even drive because you don't have your certificate of vaccination, right? So I'm like, look like their goal is 2021, early part of 2021, to start forcing those type of laws, which they're going to have some huge resistance, not just from us, but many of the Gentiles as well. What's your thoughts? What can we do as a family to try to push this thing through? Or is there anything we can do?
I think that it's...
Well, go ahead, Michaela.
No,
I'll
go
go
ahead.
after you.
Okay. I think that it's imperative to, I see a lot in the comments talking about, not wanting to get ahead of the Most High. And absolutely. However, when Pharaoh had his dream and Joseph interpreted his dream, he didn't say, now let's wait and see what the answer is going to be. We don't read that. We read Joseph had the wisdom given to him by the Most High. And he said, and this is what I think you should do. He wasn't lobbying for himself to be the man in position to do those things. He just said, this is the answer and this is how you do it. And because he had the answer and he knew the question before it was told to him, the solution was then given to his hands to implement. And so I think that right now, because we know what the Bible says, we know that we are going to be facing famine, we're going to be facing war. etc. And the system of money is not going to be the same. We need to stop thinking about things in terms of dollars and start thinking in terms of barter, and start thinking in terms of who on the ground now can come together and connect and start manufacturing little small things. I mean, you can get a 3D printer, you can all manufacturing routes, underground railroad, but for products and services, that kind of thing, to implement our own trade system when we're not able to eat, because I'm not letting anybody stick anything into my body.
Me
And
neither.
so there's the knowing that we're going to need food, knowing that kids are going to keep growing, the clothes are going to still need to be worn and purchased or somehow acquired. And so I think planning ahead in that sense and listening, the Most High will guide us. We just have to, we already know He told us when these things happen, remember I told you. So He told us already. We don't have to wait for Him to tell us again. We just need to now. We already know what's going to be needed because we have been living on the earth. So we need to eat, we need to have water, we need to have clothes, things like that. We need to have something to keep our children entertained. We need to build our own educational tools. We need to have just a network of things that can be implemented without the currency structure required by Babylon's system.
T3 and me.
Well, I think there's enough of, there's a
Oops. There we go. Yeah, you there?
who
T3? Okay.
we have huge houses and we have rooms. So like I feel like maybe we can do like set up a Zoom conference or something. And for those who want to leave and who are worried about finances or just worried about how, coming by themselves, there's enough of us here to where we can host lots of, people who want to return. There are things that we can talk about with setting up businesses. It's going to come down to group economics. We shouldn't think of this in the individual sort of way. We all need to come together and work together and figure out what we can do to help each other. There's, like I keep saying, there's a lot of us here who want to help. There's a lady who reached out to me the other day. She just purchased a 6-bedroom house and she wants to fill her rooms up. She's asking me, do I, know anybody who wants a room? So there's lots of people here who want to help. And I just feel like we just all need to come and sit down together and figure out what specifically you guys need to be able to get over here. And then we can work from there.
So do you all think we can work together? I mean, we've been broken so much by the Babylonian system and have become such individualistic type of people that, we go there, I want this, I want that. And, we don't have a community mindset like they do in Africa. And I wonder if it's possible. I mean, I know anything possible with the Most High, but, also, we got some people with issues. Could you live in a house with some people? Some people you're gonna be like, I can't live around you. I mean, can we pull that off? I mean, I know if the Most High in it, yes, but I mean, what's y'all thoughts on it?
I mean, I feel like nothing is impossible with prayer and fasting. Anything can get done. Yes, we all have issues. We're all still healing, but I mean, I feel like this is such dire circumstances that we really don't have a choice. We just gonna have to get it done. We really can't be worried about a lot of that type of stuff. Like we have to act with a sense of urgency.
That's a good point. Kara, you had something you wanted to say?
Well, if you think about it, remember when we had come out of Egypt, what did the Most High do? He had us in tents. He had us literally out of our comfort zone. And I believe that that's for a reason. See, we're too accustomed to the dainties, the life of Egypt, that when you go on over there, you're going to not really enjoy the standard of living that you've been accustomed to here, because a lot of people are going to look at those washers and dryers on over there and be like, okay, well, I got me a Samsung, I got me a Maytag, a Whirlpool, I have 6, 7, 8 dryer cycles with the sensors, and then you're going to see, well, it's going to be bare. It's going to be, functional, but it's not going to be at the level that we want. Now, we can always get to that level. We can always get back to where we were at here. But I believe that first it has to be a breaking process. We have to go through a complete, rebuild. And that rebuild is going to be physically and spiritually.
We're gonna go through we're gonna go through withdrawal and say, I had meat in Egypt. That's what's gonna happen.
I think so, but maybe not. I think that, once the shackles of the being in the place of our captivity, being here is taken away, I think that there becomes a reliance on each other because we have a commonality of our history. We have a commonality of our struggle. We have a commonality of the pain that was left behind and also of what we might have had to leave behind. But in that sense, the reliance, our brains turn into survival. Our brain will stop doing everything else to keep us alive. And so if that means we have to shut down the argumentativeness in our nature in us, then to live, our brains will help us to do that. But also the Most High, when he moves us out of here, I believe that the glass that we see through dimly will be polished and we will be able to see. And those of us who can't see, they will take care of themselves because they'll either try to go back or they will stay put while the rest of us keep moving forward. I don't think that it'll be as difficult as we imagine today because we're surrounded by the shackles of Babylon. I don't think it'll be as difficult to unify when that reality is in front of us.
Yeah. I would say that, I think that, Deuteronomy chapter 30 is the blueprint where, as well as I think Jeremiah 29, that in this process of fleeing from Babylon, that he's going to heal us from all these wounds, both psychological, spiritual. Because we've all have, generations of trauma that are literally in our DNA, that we've dealt with for so long. And it's going to require that time to, for him to heal us. But I will say this, that I think as we speak right now, individuals on this panel, as well as individuals that are listening, we're all mentally ready. we're ready. We have prepared our hearts and our minds to be ready to go and to be mentally fortified for this transition. And it's similar to those individuals who the 12 spies, that 10 were, when they saw what was ahead of them, they were afraid, and the 2 said that we can do this, in the Most High. So I think that, one part of it is that for me personally, I talked to individuals about all this stuff happening from 2 years ago. Like, look, man, we got to get ready to go. You want me to leave? I ain't leaving. But now, man, I'm ready to go. Man, you right. I got to get my pet, man. Get me out of here. I'm ready to go. So now it's like, okay, the pressure is getting hot. It's getting hot in here. You know what I mean? So like, so the understanding is, okay, that the Most High is going to raise the fire up so high in Babylon, in the Babylonian system, that you're going to be ready to jump out the pot. But I think for a lot of us, we've been prepared for where our feet land. And that, I think, just as Moses had set up, delegates for him to be able to deal with the camps, and handle problems, I believe it may be a similar structure for all of us, that we'll be able, that the Most High is preparing a subset of his people that have already prepared their hearts and their minds for this transition, to help those as we bridge, in addition to those that are already on the ground on the continent as we speak now. So.
Brother Asaph, welcome aboard. Any comment?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Brother Asaph. We hear you.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, we're a disciplined unit already. Yeah, we're a disciplined unit already, and we're ready to leave. And as such, it's just the notification from the Most High we need now just to get out of here, because the ministry has everything needed, and every member has different skills to contribute to the community. And when we left Egypt, we left in our armies. And if Covenant Awakening says to me, we need to keep these people that are leaving in discipline, you know, I'm just going to say, Karis, what are your orders, my brother?
So we all are really in that state that Nehemiah was in, right? With Nehemiah, you know, he had to go there and there was nothing. He had to get all the people together. They had to get all the material. They had to rebuild the walls. We're literally doing that. So with the things on the horizon that we see that's coming, this just, you know, I just want to know your opinion on this. Because I got my own opinion, as you know. And I want to ask you first, brother Asaph, what do you all see in terms of our timeline out of here? Because I'm like, what I see happening and coming on the scene, I'm like, I just can't see the Exodus being too far away, because I don't see how we're gonna make it. Either that or we're gonna be in some serious war here before we get out. What's your thought on that, brother Asaph? Go ahead. Brother Asaph.
Well, my view is we haven't got too long to go as such. And I was speaking to one of my pastors who just left the Baptist church and has become a Hebrew Israelite and was a professor of theology. And he says we've got less than 10 years.
I think we got less than that. Way less. What anybody else? What's your thoughts on that?
I think that I believe the Exodus is going to be near Passover. That's just my opinion.
Of 2021?
Yes. I think that before that, we will be in the four corners of the earth. We will be like mini Goshens. And as everybody else is struggling to breathe, as everybody else is struggling to see, to live, we are going to be beacons of light that can see in darkness. And then once that's all over, whatever transition this country is going through, it doesn't have anything to do with us. Our transition is not to be confused with the order that's being structured here, because that doesn't have anything to do with us. And so I think that in the next 5 months, you know, we need to be, that's why I think it's imperative to start thinking infrastructurally what's ahead of us. And so I just feel that the tension is rising. All the things that they have so-called predicted were the things that they planned, and they're just giving us their playbook. And then like 1984, they're just telling us, oh, it's always been this way. This is how things have always been. These people were always at war. These people have never existed. And the doublespeak has ramped up to the point where they're not even trying to hide it at all. And so when things get like that, it's like, all right, the elimination process of shoot the next Black person, either Negro and whatever we're being called today by them, you know, shoot him on sight. That's when the darkness and all of the things will happen, because the Most High is not going to leave us stranded. And so, yes, I believe that rather quickly. And because he said that it will be greater than the first Exodus, I see that Passover makes sense. It just makes sense to me. So and I'm not a prediction person. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. But you know, vocab and them still gonna come and say, hey, you know, if we're still here, didn't you just prophesy? You're a false prophet, because you just say we're gonna be out of here, by Passover. That's what they're gonna do, right? Even though you just said, you know, you're not predicting anything, but they're not gonna listen to that.
Right. And you know, I think that we have I laugh at them because when I learned when I was younger actually, that when they're looking at you so hard, your enemy tells you all the time what they're afraid of about you. They're afraid of how right we have been. And I don't say things because I think that I know something. I say things because I look at patterns of scripture, because what has been will be again. And as we're looking at it, it's like, well, there's been a pattern of things all the time. It's always a pattern. Just look at the character and the move of the Most High. He moves in a rhythm. And so if they read their scriptures, they would know. But if they had his spirit to interpret their scriptures, they would also know. And so, yeah.
Don't you all find it weird where, to us, it's like, looking at a clear picture, and it's like, it's so obvious what's happening, but all these other people blind, they can't see it. I mean, do y'all think, does it seem weird to you? Like, how come they can't see it?
Yeah, it's really weird. I was talking to a couple of associates the other day, and they were so happy that Biden and Kamala Harris so-called won the election, and I'm just like, why? Like the new world order and their plans are still going to continue. It doesn't matter who's in office. People are looking at these people as saviors. Oh, we're going to get rid of Trump. Things are going to be better now. The world is, going to, a better place now that he's out of office. And I'm like, man, these things are only going to get worse. It doesn't matter who's in office. You really just wasted your time voting for the so-called lesser of two evils, but evil is evil. And I was just watching something the other day where they about Russia. Russia already has a vaccine. They've already been vaccinating people with the COVID vaccine, and they're talking about how it's 90-something% effective. So, and now they're saying that Pfizer is set to try to have their vaccine distributed within the next couple of weeks. So, things are happening. They're trying to sweep these things under the rug or make it seem like it's something good that they're rolling out these vaccines, but we know what it really is.
Yeah, instead of coming with the hard hand, like Trump tries to say, with the military and try to force vaccinate you. Now, some people say they plan on putting people in camps. I know in Canada, Canada literally has been talking about putting people in camps, but they're going to slowly move to that, right? First is going to be you can't go to certain stores, you can't do this, you can't drive, and then maybe it'll be trying to put people in camps. I'm hoping by the time they start doing that, we're out, because I know me, I'm planning my way out. I'm gonna try to see if I can get my passport renewed, because I don't know what's gonna happen. I want to be ready. You had something to say, Karis?
Yeah, so just going off of this is something on Apple News, because this was posted in Hebrew Sphere, and it was showing that those doctors and nurses that had received the COVID vaccine in Russia had been infected with COVID-19. So it's obviously showing that they're not able to contain this. It's like trying to give somebody the AIDS vaccine, that and then they get AIDS. So we're starting to understand, the Most High has to move methodically. And you have to understand that the Most High, he is a warrior. He's a fighter. All right. So when you fight, you have to fight with a tactic that you do not want to show your enemies what's happening. And so right now, just think about this. They're saying that the U.S. has clocked the most COVID-19 cases in a day. And now the deaths are getting ready to go to where it was the highest spikes since May. So right now, you can't, and they know the United States cannot afford to shut down its economy again. You might as well just cancel Christmas. And so you have to think, look, everything has been systematically taken away from them, but he's going to do it in a purpose that it won't necessarily impact us. We'll get impacted, but we're not going to be impacted as much as basically our captors are going to be impacted. So I believe, just like what a lot of you all are seeing, especially, we see these folks are gearing up. They had their little march thing on Saturday, right? Biden Harris. Now you see the Trump camp is going to respond on Saturday with their march. and there's counter protesters. So you already know that the tempers are flaring. You already know that things are going to start kicking off. Is this going to be the start of the Civil War where people draw battle lines? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, they're going to be what, on 16th Avenue and near Lafayette Park? One's there, one's there. You don't know, but we're seeing it. So in terms of if we get the vaccine, if the vaccine gets rolled on out, I look at it like this. Remember, we may actually see the vaccine, we may actually see the needle, but listen, that thing's not going to come anywhere near us because the Most High, he loves to operate when our backs are against the wall. And you have to remember, when the back is against the wall, that's when he pulls through.
Well, I've already determined I'm not taking it no matter what you do, how you do it. You know what I'm saying? You want to fight, we fight. That don't mean I'm going to win, but it ain't going to be that easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the rest of these photos here from the Wakanda conference. Place, I guess, or same. It'd be nice if they could pull it off. I think they will. It might not be exactly like this, you know. Usually as you go down, you make adjustments. I like the chalet. That would be nice, especially right there on the beach. All right, and this is going to be the last image here. So a lot of people within the secular world has no idea what's going on. They have no idea what prophecies are coming to pass, right? Because they're stuck in the Eurocentric indoctrination. So this is the website for Pan-African Village Project. Now, this is where you can go if you're going to Ghana and you wanted to apply for that free land. You would come here and fill out the application, and then there's a payment or whatever to process the documentation. I think that payment, I don't know if the price changed. I think at one time it was $700. I haven't looked. And as the chief says here, we are a people bonded by blood and inseparable by circumstances. I will not look on whilst we scatter and lose our identity as a family. We owe ourselves and to our ancestors a duty to restore our community with no further delay. So they seem like, you know, they're moving with this. See, as I see, you know, the word of God is coming to pass. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, don't understand this, right? Especially many of the Gentiles don't understand that what's happening is that the word of God is coming to pass. And let's see here. So this is Rabbi Kohen Halevi, the guy I was talking about. I'm trying to see if I could get him on the show. I know he's a busy man, but I like to get him on. I mean, really, I like to get all these guys on, but I don't know if I could get them on. But so that's all the images and everything that I have. So any final comments, family?
Yeah, I would just say that, you know, they're calling it a dark winter here in America for a reason. You know, Klaus Schwab, whatever his name is, he gave the blueprint of what's going on, and in this hour, let us continue to remain vigilant, with our hope in our hands, look at, hands up to the Most High, but, be fully prepared in Babylon, for things to go just like they said it would, and remain hopeful in the Most High to deliver us.
All right, Brother Asaph, any final comment? Let me unmute you.
All right, Brother Asaph, any final comment?
My view is now that we haven't got too long to go, and I'm planning to visit Ghana sometime if Yah spares us next year, and I'm going to have a look around at what opportunities are there for all of us, really. And I know that various communities are being set up in Ghana, and I think that other countries like Kenya and Uganda will come online eventually, because we haven't got too long to go, and they will eventually call us back. It's a matter of reparations, which the Most High will give us, because we can see that the countries that have been hit the hardest in terms of statistics is the United States and the UK here, which is a death rate is appalling. It's the casualties over here is more than the Second World War, and it's rising, and the winter's not even over. So I'll just hand it back to you, Brother Yakoba. And thanks for having me on. I appreciate it so much.
Anytime, Brother Asaph. The Most High Rule, thanks for the gift. And if I understand your question correctly about where's the mountains in Ghana, I assume that has to do with Jerusalem. I'm assuming that's why you asked that. This is the wilderness experience, not Jerusalem. From my understanding of the scriptures, we got 3.5 years in the wilderness. Then we go to Jerusalem. So if that answers your question. All right, Michaela, any final comments?
Yeah, I think that just to comment on T3andMe, and I think it was Karis who was talking about the selection that just happened. I think that we're going to be in for a big okie doke. And so it's kind of, to me, I think Dante said it, like a reality TV show, just kind of sit back and watch, because I don't believe that who they selected, well, the popular vote hasn't selected anybody yet. I don't believe that that is real. I think that the okie doke is going to happen, and it's going to be that the same person who's in office is going to stay there.
I agree with you.
and so I kind of want to make little shorts to just start playing during the week when they start dropping the hints that they're going to announce that he's going to stay in office, and just play them ahead of time, because I think it's funny because it's fake. And in light of the fakeness of it, anything that's named dark, it usually has to do with something they've planned for us. And so this dark winter, let's stay away from them, like just disconnect from them, and start to put in place a means of connecting with one another, because I agree that there's a 3.5 wilderness period coming up. And because he shows us things well in advance, it does give us the advantage of planning. That's the reason, we plan, but he orders our steps. He's already told us what the deal is, so we can plan, and he will order our steps. And so I think that it's time to start planning so that he can order our steps.
T3andMe, any final comments?
Yeah, I just want to encourage everybody to continue to pray and allow the Most High to lead you to where he wants you to be during these times. And I'm here to help. So, if anybody needs help getting over here or just needs some advice, I'm boots on the ground, and I'm more than willing to help.
Quick question, T3andMe.
Yes.
Can you all take some more photos of like the neighborhoods, the area, the communities, the outlying areas and stuff like that? Like you did in Rwanda?
Yeah, definitely. It's been raining here for like this whole week and a couple of weeks before that, because November is the rainy season, which is literally like 1 month.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, once the rain stops, I'll definitely be able to do that.
Okay, great. Janice, any final comments? All right, we're gonna move on. Brother Karras, any final comments?
Yeah, again, thanks for having me on, especially when we're talking about Wakanda. We're in that season that as things are going down here, things are moving up in the other parts of the world. And I know Awakened Hebrew Sister had said something about municipal bonds and funding and things of that nature. And you know, just to kind of give it from a point of objectivity and prophetic. Look, when Genesis 15, 12 through 14 talked about our disposition and how we're going to be getting up on out of here after their judgment, we're leaving here with great substance. Now, we don't know how much that substance is going to be translated into the something quantifiable, but at least we know the Most High is not going to leave us, disparate and in need and in want. Those days are going to be over as soon as we leave up out of this captivity. So I just believe that for us, as we see these things happening, we're coming together in one accord and in one mind. This 400-year thing, it was kind of quote unquote taboo, but it's not anymore. It's now that this is. People are talking about it. Mainstream people are talking about it. So they're understanding what we're seeing and what we're saying. It's happening and it's unsettling. So for us, like I always say, look, be careful. Understand who you're around, who you're with, because the unhingement is real. And with that, family, salama.
Brother Janice, are you back?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Any final comments?
I've been listening to everyone talk, and part of my heart is with the people who feel like that either it's not time to go or they don't have the ability to go. And so, if it was up to me, we would all be over there today. And my perspective on timing, when is all this going to happen? I pray about that a lot. The one thing that I am continually doing is I'm like Nehemiah. I'm building this actual wall, building this bridge, building this pathway of transparency so that people can take whatever substance they individually have or collectively, combination of what's being generated over there versus what people have or don't, and giving people an option to move. And so it is pretty disheartening to see everything that is going on. But I just ask everyone to trust God, do what's set before you. Don't be anxious about what you cannot control, and let's just keep encouraging each other. And I will be sending you an email here in the next couple of days. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Brother Janice. All right, panel, thanks for sharing. It was great having your comments on all of these things. And I look forward to meeting you all in the land. That'll be some fun. I tell you, the celebration and the joy. And I'm going to close this out with that video I started off with Rabbi Cohen Halevi talking about the 400 years. I'm like, see, we're not the only ones saying it. And let me end it with this. Look up and lift up your head, Israel, for your redemption draweth nigh. Your captivity is ending.
Which is what it takes to move this project forward from each and every one of us. We're reminded of the words again, for us, by us. Yes, we can. 400 years was part of the commemoration that inspired His Excellency the President to proclaim the year of return. And we must keep it in our mind that the 400 years was not just a commemoration, but it was an announcement that the captivity was up, that no longer were we held bound to the shackles of white supremacy. and that Africans could do for themselves, must do for themselves, and will do for themselves. And that doing for ourselves must entail committed action that is instituted, initiated by ourselves, and supported by ourselves, and that we continue in the effort to thinking as a new or a renewed people. So now is the time.
Thanks, family. Love you with the love of the Messiah. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending.